Morning, A Bird Freedom fam. So today, as you saw in the thumbnail, this is a rescue mission. That's right, a rescue mission. For what? This little Glenfield Marlin. This is actually a Glenfield, only marked, Model 60, 22 long rifle, semi-auto, tube-fed rifle. As you saw in the little intro video, this rifle evidently was, unfortunately, left out in the elements and completely and totally abandoned. But what I want to know is do you think, and go ahead and put it in the comments, go ahead and like this video, subscribe while you're here. Do you think that this rifle can be salvaged and it's not just a lost cause? So go ahead, like I said, I'll say it one more time. Put it in the comments. A simple yes, you think it can be saved, or a simple no, you don't think it can be saved. But more importantly, I'm going to take this journey and I'm going to bring you along with me. So yes, I am going to attempt a resurrection on this rifle because I do believe this was sent as more of a joke. And you know who you are that sent it. Fix me, please. Okay. You know what? We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to try to fix this poor, neglected rifle because each day in America, thousands of rifles in this condition are just routinely sent off to scrap or abandoned completely. A lot of them can be resurrected. As a matter of fact, if you have a rifle in this condition and you are thinking about getting rid of it because you just believe it's a lost cause and beyond all hope, well, here at A Bird Freedom Support, we're kind of like the island of misfit toys. So go ahead and go to abirdfreedomsupport.com. I'll put it right here on the screen, abirdfreedomsupport.com. Send me an email. Email me what you got. Feel free to send pictures. And if I think it's possible to do a resurrection, I will get in. Well, I'll respond to you no matter what. But if I think it's possible to resurrect it, or maybe, unfortunately, it's been in that horrible accident and now maybe it just needs to be an organ donor for something else like this or something that's broken, I'll let you know. And possibly we can help you get that poor, neglected shelter rifle or pistol or shotgun into a new home, or get those vital organs into another rifle and into the hands of a loving firearm owner. Bring them in out of the cold. So this is the intro for the Fix Me Please rifle video series. That's right, I'm going to make a solid attempt at this. Now, first observations, the stock is going to have to go. It is actually dried out to the point where it has shrank too much to be usable again. That's not an issue, but this resurrection will literally be done with the lowest budget possible. That's right. There are lots of parts for these Model 60s floating around on the interweb, gun shows, garage sales, you name it, it's out there. So if you think you know the budget that we should use for this, put that in the comments. Is it $100? Should we not spend over $150? Is it worth $250 to not let another 22 long rifle, semi-auto, vintage, tube-fed magazine rifle fall by the wayside? So in a time of throwing things away, let's go ahead and put some effort in this. Why don't you guys just set the budget? Let's go with, should it be $150? Should it be $250? Or should we cap it at $300, knowing the value of these rifles is not there, but maybe it's worth it to not let this rifle become a forgotten soul. So, A Bird Freedom Support fam, that's what we're doing. This is the intro. Now you've seen the rifle. There's no secrets. And go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button. Throw a comment on it. Hit that bell notification and let's follow along with this series. There are some points where I will have to do a before disassembly, after disassembly, so that we don't get any strikes and get booted off the old interwebs. But don't forget, abirdfreedomsupport.com, and as well as A Bird Freedom Support swag is up on the online store. I will put that in a pinned comment down below and the description. Get yourself some swag. The revenue from that goes to shop video funds, i.e. parts for this, ammo for test fires, and so on and so forth. With that, everybody, I thank you. Don't forget, can we resurrect it? Yes or no? So to go ahead and get that bolt unstuck, we're going to use a little bit of hoppies, and we're just going to literally see if we can get it down or into the action around the top of the bolt. We're going to turn our muzzle up. We're going to let that hoppies run into the action a little bit. We're going to go in front of the charging handle with a little bit more. And all we're trying to do is just let that hoppies get in there and do what it does. And just give the bolt some little taps to the rear. I'm going to go back with my hoppies. I'm going to re-soak it again. Get a little bit in the front, a little bit across the top so we get to the top of the bolt. Turn it up and let it run in that action again. We actually got a little bit of movement back and forth. I don't know if you can see the amount of crud falling out of the bottom of the receiver. We got her to move a little. Alrighty, so to necessitate soaking that bolt a little bit better, we're going to go ahead and remove the shell lifter, the hammer strut, the actual internals, and let you guys get a look at that just as it came out. That way we're also not trying to set the hammer behind the bolt. Let's go ahead and I'll give you a look inside that receiver before we get that bolt freed up. Now I'm going to go back to soaking this side of the bolt so that that hoppies gets all the way around the bolt. And also going to put a little bit of hoppies on the recoil spring and the recoil spring rod, just to help it get a little bit of movement. Get down that side of the receiver, get down this side of the receiver around the bolt. We'll go ahead and lube up the actual inside of the receiver where it's going to want to. And there we go. And just like that, we now have, hopefully you guys can see all the stuff falling out. And we now have a freed up Glenfield Model 60 bolt so that we can go ahead and get it out of this receiver. Alrighty, we got that charging handle out. She was a bit stuck. Now we can just go ahead and go in. And we'll fish out that bolt and let everybody at home get a good look see. Recoil spring and rod. Obviously, we've got a lot of calcification going on in here because this is not a steel receiver. That is what we are actually working with now. Next thing's next, we'll go ahead and we'll get this barrel and magazine tube off of there. Alright everybody, so just like we went over, this is going to be a budget, 150, 250, 300, you guys get to choose. But let's go ahead and recap now that the outer magazine tube is off the barrel. And yes, as quite happens often with the heavily rusted, the dovetail outer magazine tube retainer that dovetails onto the barrel, it split like many of them do. But let's now get a look at that heavily calcified aluminum receiver. Now that it is off of that barrel. Alright everybody, so just like we went over, this is going to be a budget, 150, 250, 300, you guys get to choose. But let's go ahead and recap now that the outer magazine tube is off the barrel. And yes, as quite happens often with the heavily rusted, the dovetail outer magazine tube retainer that dovetails onto the barrel, it split like many of them do. But let's now get a look at that heavily calcified aluminum receiver. Now that it is off of that barrel, that's what we're working with beginning for the bolt. This is what we're looking at for the shell lifter, as well as the hammer and the hammer spring and the buffer. This is what we're looking at for the trigger guard and the trigger assembly. And now that the barrel is off, this is externally what the barrel looks like to include the front sight. And there is absolutely no daylight through this barrel. So that's going to be step one. Will be get this barrel cleaned up, get a look inside of it, and see if we can salvage the barrel. If not, barrels are extremely cheap. They're laying everywhere. I might actually have a couple old part takeoffs here at the shop, which would be great because that would mean other donors, other organ donors, will contribute to this budget resurrection Glenfield Model 60. There it is, everybody, in a nutshell. Yes, this video went longer than I wanted it to. I was going to do it in 2 pieces, and then I wanted to give one solid look at what we're working with. I'll bring you along as I work through the different stages. Until then, now, be safe, be aware, more importantly, be American. Out.